Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am SUBHAN binti Abdul Hadi, representing SMK Sultan Sulaiman TEB 3091, and the book that I'm going to talk about today is The Diary of a Young Girl. This book was journaled by Anne Frank, a Jewish teenager who chronicled her family's 2 years in hiding during the German occupation of the Netherlands during World War II. The book was first published in 1947, 2 years after Anne's death in a concentration camp, and later became a classic of war literature. In 1933, Anne's family, her father, Otto, her mother, Edith, and her older sister, Margaret, moved to Amsterdam from Germany following the rise of Adolf Hitler. In 1940, the Netherlands was invaded by Germany, which began to enact various anti-Jewish measures, one of which required Anne and her sister to enroll in an all-Jewish school the following year. On June 12, 1942, Anne received a red and white plate diary for her 13th birthday. That day, she began writing in the book, "I hope I will be able to confide everything to you, as I have never been able to confide in anyone, and I hope you will be a great source of comfort and support." The following month, Margaret received an order to report to a labor camp, facing arrest if she did not comply. The family went into hiding on July 6, 1942, moving into a secret annex at Otto's business in Amsterdam, the entrance to which was soon hidden behind a movable bookcase. The friends were later joined by 4 other Jews, Hermann and Augusta van Pels and their son Peter and Fritz Pfeffer, and were aided by several friends, including Mepkis, who brought food and other supplies. Over the next 2 years, Anne wrote faithfully in the diary, which she came to consider a friend, addressing many of the entries to "Dear Kitty." In the journal and later notebooks, Anne recounted the day-to-day life within the annex. The close quarters and sparse supplies led to various arguments among the inhabitants, and the outgoing Anne came to find the conditions stifling. Heightened tensions was the ever-present concern that they will be discovered. However, many entries involve typical adolescent issues: jealousy toward her sister, annoyance with others, especially her mother, and an increasing sexual awareness. Anne wrote candidly about her developing body, and she experienced a brief romance with Peter van Pels. She also discussed her hopes for the future, which included becoming a journalist or a writer. In addition to the diary, Anne penned several short stories and compiled a list of beautiful sentences from other works. After learning of plans to collect diaries and other papers to chronicle people's wartime experiences, Anne began to rewrite her journal for possible publication as a novel entitled Het Achterhuis, or as known as The Secret Annex. She notably created pseudonyms for all the inhabitants, eventually adopting Anne Robin as her alias. Pfeffer, whom Anne had come to dislike as the two often argued about the use of death, was named Albert Dussel, the surname of which is German for idiot. Anne's last, Anne's last diary entry was written on August 1, 1944. 3 days later, the secret annex was discovered by the Gestapo, which had received a tip from Dutch informers. All of the inhabitants were taken into custody. In September, the Frank family arrived at Auschwitz, though Anne and Margaret were transferred to Bergen-Belsen the following month. In 1945, Anne as well as her mother and sister died. Of the 8 people in the secret annex, only Otto Frank survived the war. He subsequently returned to Amsterdam, where Gis gave him various documents she had saved from the annex. Among the papers was Anne's diary, though some of the notebook was missing, notably most of those from 1943. To fulfill Anne's dream of publication, Otto began sorting through her writings. The original red and white checkered journal became known as the A version, while her revised entries, written on loose sheets of paper, were known as the B version. The diary that Otto ultimately compiled was the C version, which omitted approximately 30% of her entries. Much of the excluded text was, was sexual related or concerned difficulties with her mother. After Otto was unable to find a publisher, the work was given to a historian After Otto was unable to find a publisher, the work was given to a historian, Jean Romain, who was so impressed that he wrote about a diary in a front page article for the newspaper ABDUL in 1946. The resulting intention led to a publishing deal with Contact, and ABDUL was released on June 25, 1947, an immediate bestseller in the Netherlands. The work began to appear elsewhere. In 1952, the first American edition was published under the title Anne Frank, The Diary of a Young Girl. It included an, it included an introduction by Eleanor Roosevelt. The work was eventually the work was eventually translated into more than 65 languages, and it was later adapted for the stage and screen. All proceeds went to a foundation established in Anne's honor. In 1995, 15 years after Otto's death, a new English version of the diary was published. It contained material that had been previously omitted in an effort It contained material that had been previously omitted in an effort to extend the copyright date, which was to begin expiring in various European countries in 2016. Otto was added as a co-author in 2015. Written with insight, humor, and intelligence, the diary became a classic of world literature, personalizing the Holocaust and offering a moving coming-of-age story. To many, the book was also a source of inspiration and adversity. In the midst of such adversity, and poignantly wrote, "I still believe, in spite of everything, that people really are good at heart." That's all from me. Wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.